In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up this drawing so that it has a slab on grade foundation with detailing. And we're going to do a few things to the model in order to get it ready for that. But before we do that, we want to save it as a new file. So the first thing you're going to do is go up to the R, hit Save As, Project, and you're going to want to save this in your S drive in Cons 130, and I think we have a camp file. In the camp file, you can create a new folder in there called Slab. And then rename this file Camp Slab and save it in that slab folder. So now the camp has been saved, you still have the original copy that either was you finished it to the point that you got the model done, or you might have finished it to the point where you got annotation done. Either way, you can do this as long as the model is complete. So the first thing we need to take care of or address is that the profile that we have here for the bottom of the slab isn't correct. If I go into look at our section, and if you don't have a section, you can cut a section by going here to a section and just clicking and clicking again on the other side. Then you hit escape and then just double click on this bubble and it will show you a section view. We look at the slab haunch from the side. We're not getting the right profile. It should be it should have a little diagonal here and come down and be narrower at the bottom and thicker at the top. So to fix that situation, you're going to have to load a profile. So the way to load the profile is you have to open the profile. The way that you open the profile is you're going to go to the Open tab, and we're looking for an RFA file actually, and where it can be found is under the R drive, Cons 130, Revit Families, Profiles, and you're going to see a RFA file called Slab Edge Haunch. Make sure you pick the one that doesn't have any numbers following after it, so that's the one you want. This is what it looks like, but the only reason we're opening it is so we can load it into our current project. So as soon as you have it open, you don't want to mess with it or anything, just click on Load into Project. You won't get this pop-up because you're going to only have one file open. If you happen to have more than one RVT file open, you obviously want this profile to load into the Camp Slab RVT file that you just renamed. So make sure that one's checked off. Hit OK. Now we can go into that 3D view, and I'm going to just click on the slab edge, right click, and select all instances visible in view. Looks like that's a little bit out of your view there, so let's try that again. All instances visible in view, and that should select all of them. Looks like it didn't, so let's go ahead and I'm going to hit the Control key and also select that part so that all of that's selected. So there must be two types of slab haunches there that I don't realize that there are. Now that we have all the slab haunches selected, oh, it looks like we might have to do this two separate times. So let's go ahead and pick what we had before. Because they're different, I do have to pick them separately. So these must be all the same, and that allows us to hit Edit Type. When you hit Edit Type, we have a profile that's been set to default. If you click on that, however, you're going to get an arrow that pull down with a list, and in that list should be the a slab edge haunch that we just loaded into the project. So make that the profile, hit Apply, and you might get an error, but just hit Remove References and then hit OK. And you should see just in this area right here, if I zoom in a little bit closer, you should see that there's a change in the profile there. Okay, So now we're going to pick the next one. Oh, that one's already been changed. Now we'll pick this one. And there's a little bit of a problem in that corner, but it's going to get fixed as soon as we change this to the same profile. So we select the rest of them, hit Edit Type, and you should have the same choice here to change the slab edge haunch. And again, we're going to get a warning, but go ahead and hit Remove References again, and then hit Delete Dimensions. You might not get this warning because I have dimensions on mine. You may not have dimensions on yours. So if you don't get this warning, great. But what's going to happen when you're done after you hit OK through those things is now we have the correct profile for that slab haunch. And now we're ready to set up the views that we want. So the first view that we're going to create is going to be a foundation view. If you haven't got a foundation view created already, then here's how you do it. So I'm going to delete this view to show you how to do it. Let's say you have first floor, but you know no foundation. So you're going to right-click on first floor, duplicate the view, hit duplicate, and then you're going to rename this view. Let's bring this up so you can see what I'm doing here. So you're going to rename the view. And I'm going to change that to foundation. Up with all caps. Right. I can put this back. Okay, so now I have a foundation view, but it looks exactly the same as first floor if we go back and forth. It looks the same, except there's no annotation. Okay. I don't want this to look like the first floor. I want it to look like the foundation, and I can control that by controlling the view range. So if I slide down to the Extent section and across from View Range, click on Edit. I want to change this view range so that the top is looking at the first floor, but only at 0 of the first floor. And the cut plane is going to be at 0. And the bottom is going to go down to the level below. And the view depth is going to go down to the level below. I'm going to hit Apply to that and see what I get. That's what I want. Which is, this is an example of what that slab would look like. If we were just looking straight down on the slab, we wouldn't really be able to see the haunch. But what I'm going to be doing is showing those hidden lines in this top view. And we can do that by actually turning off our floor region. So we'll hit OK. This is correct so far. So I'm going to hit OK. And then I want this floor to actually be turned off in this view. So I type VV at the keyboard, and as soon as you type VV, you should get this dialog box. The other way to get to it is to, under the View tab, go to Visibility and Graphics. The same thing comes up. And I'm just going to shut off floors. Just like that, and hit OK. Oh, must have shut off too much. Let's see what I did wrong there. Alright, I thought that I was going to be able to do that way, but it turns out this is what you're going to need to do instead. You're going to change the discipline over here. So this is Foundation View. You want to click on Foundation. Make sure it's active so that you're seeing the properties of the Foundation View up here. And look for Discipline. And you'll see that says Architectural right now. I'm going to switch that to Structural. And then hit Apply. Then we're going to get some hidden lines. I want to see all the hidden lines. So across from Show Hidden Lines by Discipline, I'm going to change that to All and then hit Apply. Now we're seeing the hidden lines representing for all the hidden lines that we'd see below the slab that are representing the two thicknesses of the haunch. So we have that hidden line is the top of the haunch. That hidden line is the bottom of the haunch. So that's exactly what we want to see. Now in this view, we really are just interested in dimensioning the overall slab. So I would go to Annotate, create a line dimensions that go from the edge of the slab and in the same other direction, the edge of the slab. And then I would put some overall dimensions in here, and those should match what we have for dimensions on the main floor. Right? We could also put in with some detail lining where we might want to have some construction, not construction lines, but control joints. So under the Annotate tab, Detail Lines this time, I want to create some thin lines that are at an offset of 8 feet. So I'm going to put in here 8 feet. And then if I draw my line right on top of the edge here, we should end up with, well, let's try it in the other direction. We should end up with a line. No, I guess I did it right in the first. There it is. Should have been with a line 8 feet away from it over the slab. So you can see that line gets drawn on top of the slab there. So then I'd pick it up and go start from the last line that I drew and draw on top of that, and then do it again. And then we can do it one more time. So this just needs to be adjusted so that it's not as long. And then we would have one slab detail line going across the middle, like so. And that would probably be a good arrangement for our control joints. We can call out those control joints. We also want to call out the slab thickness. So the annotation that we'd put on this view, we would put some text here, and we'd check to see if the text was set to the correct style. So 3/32 of an inch Arial. If you don't have the right one, click on the arrow and find it, 3/32 Arial. And then I'm just going to find a spot somewhere on the slab to write out 4-inch concrete slab, enter, smooth, level. And that's it. So then that slab has been called out, the size and the thickness. If I wanted to call out what these control joints were, I could click on the same tool, but this time I want to add a leader to it. So I'm going to add a 2-segment leader. So I can point to that line, click, and then drag a little bit of an edge, and then it's going to give me an opportunity to type, and I'm just going to write control joints at 10 feet dash 0 inch max. And if we don't like the size of this, you can click on it after the fact and kind of drag it over so it doesn't end up going over that second control joint. And there we have it. That is pretty much all we have for detailing and dimensioning on a slab on grade style foundation system. So what we would do now is go down to the bottom where we've set up some sheets, and we have if you've gone through the annotation, you should have cover sheet, first floor, loft, elevations, and so on. But you don't have foundation. So here's how you create a sheet. If you haven't created one before, you right click on the sheet all, click on new sheet. We want to grab the same title block we've been using throughout the project. And then I would move this up to see my foundation view I just created, and then drag and drop that foundation view onto that sheet. Now I don't want to see that crop region, so you double click inside of the crop region to activate the view, and I'm going to turn it on and bring it in a little bit closer, and then make sure it's turned off. Then you can double click outside the crop region and then slide that view over into the corner. This should allow us plenty of room down here for the detail for that slab. So in the next video I'm going to show you how to create the detail for the slab, and that will be the end of it. Actually, before I finish, I'm going to right click and rename this. We'll go ahead and name it 06 and call this foundation plan. So then that gets renamed over there with the correct sheet number.